So today I want to show you a few examples with the new synthesis technology additions to VCV rack, the Cloud, Terrarium and the Quad Morphing VCO, and how perfect they are for things like drones and chords. These are commercial modules that also support the development of VCV rack, so I highly recommend checking them out. And let's start with the Cloud Terrarium. So in this case I have outputs 1 and 2 slightly spread in the stereo field. I already have also some reverb on it. And we have a menu here that we can either navigate with the encoder or actually with the mouse, which is quite cool. So if I go for example to settings, here we have the different modes. In this case I will go with Morph and Detune. Morph is basically the wavetable. If I click it and drag it up, you see we have Morph and phase modulation, Morph and wave folding, Cloud and Morph, Noise, and then we have Morph and Detune. And now with the X parameter I can detune the second output or the second oscillator. Right, and I can even quantize this. You see detune source, I can even quantize this to 4th, 5th and octaves. Right, and even create a sort of a melody, and with the Y and Z parameters, or Z, depends where you are from. Right, we can scan through the wavetable, and we have different wavetables to choose from, for example ROM A or ROM B. Right, maybe here I will stay with C, and here I will stay with B, and then I can add modulation. I have here the Quad LFO from Surge XT, so I can modulate the X, Y and Z, and again the X will be the detuning and it's quantized. Maybe also on the Z I will go to ROM B here. Right, so we get nice movement. And even some sort of melody from the detuning, the quantized detuning. Right, we have of course more things for here in the menu. We can have a look at the waves. We have this here, the Lissajou waves, if you want something a bit more visual. We have even a visual display here, and even the eye candy, which is quite cool. For different modes I will stay with sticks. I will add also some processing. I have here the filter from Surge XT, a low-pass filter, also with some modulation, just to have a bit more movement here. And also some delay with echo. Right, so you can see it's pretty easy already to create some sort of drone and some sort of melody even, just with some modulation. There is also, again, other modes. Here I have it set to cloud mode. Let me solo this for a second. Right, it's set to cloud mode with 8 oscillators, and they are detuned. If I take the filter out, you can see it's quite noisy. Again with some modulation, but it's perfect for textures. So I'm gonna bring back the bandpass filter that I have here. Right, maybe also here we can go with this one here, also sticks. I have here even a chord. Again, let me solo this for a second. So another mode that we have is Morph and Chord. And in this case, I have it with a 4-note chord, right? And you can switch between the chords and even morph between the wavetable. In this case, I'm using a folded LFO just to scan through the wavetable to create something a bit more repetitive. Let's have circles here. right? So you can even have built-in chords, and of course I have also a nice bass drone. Right, in this case I have it in morph and blend, so I have both of the oscillators coming out blended from output 2, sort of mixed together. Right, and again with modulation. Some processing, chorus, delay, filtering. The quad morphing VCO is basically 4 cloud terrariums in one module. So for example, we can create chords with the 4 VCOs. So first of all, we can mix the VCOs that all are going through output 1, for example. So if I go here to the mixer menu and I select output 1, right, we have the different levels. Let me unmute this. Right, so for example, I can take this a bit down. Right, and then bring back or bring in the second voice and the third and the fourth. So now all oscillators, all 4 oscillators are coming out from output 1. Right, and now I can set up the chord. So if I go here to frequency and chords, I can change each of the voices to be a note of a chord. If I go into it, we have here 1 volt per octave source. I can change this to chord 1. This will be the first note. Then the second voice to chord 2. Right, already we get something. Chord 3. And chord 4. Right, now if I go to the chord menu, I can set the inputs for the volt per octave, no need to change this, but also for the chord select, I can change this to input 2, and now the second volt per octave input will change the chord type. So I have here offset voltage with rescale that I can use. Right, and like this I can change the chord type and even select from different banks. So here, for example, it's major minor. Again, we have chord table. I have here major minor step, for example. Right, and again we can transpose things from the first volt per octave input. So I will use the ref tone from Bog Audio to transpose this to A3. And now this is the chord that we have. Right, and of course there is already some movement here with modulation and modulating the wavetables. Right, let's add some effects to this. I have here the chorus from Flag and a low pass filter, modulated low pass filter. Right, now you can even load your own samples and wavetables with the help of the free Wave Edit software that, if I'm not mistaken, was created by the developer of VCV. So you can use it to save samples and then load them into the quad morphing VCO. So here I have another one. If I go here to the file menu, right, I have here user A, I click it, I click load, and now it's loaded into the module. Right, so if I unmute this and I go to voice setting, the first voice, I will use this as a wavetable for the first voice. Instead of ROM A, B, or C, I will go with user A, right, and this is the one that I loaded, right, and I can scan through it. It's a sort of a drum loop actually. Right, and again, add some modulation to this. I have here smooth random modulation. Right, so now it's also, this is not what I wanted, this is what I wanted. Right, so now it's also scanning through the wavetable. Again, I can transpose this through the volt per octave. This will be E3. Again, I can add some movement to this with a delay. Right, so already we have a nice texture. And we can also use a sample player. So if I solo for a second, the second channel here, right, and I go to the second voice, instead of morph and all the other modes here, we have almost at the end sample play. And now I will choose the same sample. So instead of from A, B, or C, I will choose user A, set this to loop. And now with parameter Y, we can change the loop length. And with parameter X, we can change the offset, or we can offset through the sample. And again, it's sort of a drum groove. And again, add some modulation to this. So we have X and Y. So we have nice movement. I'm going to add here a bandpass filter, just to make this a bit more texturize it. I have here also a rhythmic bass. You can see I'm mixing 3 of the waves from the first output, and I have here, if I go to voice settings, right, I have once as the wavetable, once wavetable and wave folder, and this third layer here is noise. Let me unmute this. Right, so you can layer the voices with different modes. Right, and there is even a built-in wave folder. I have also some ARPs or sequences. In this case, I have 4 sequences. I'm quantizing them. Right, and I'm using the 4 voices separately, morphing between them with trace. And here I have all of them as a wavetable. Right, I'm using also the wavetable that I created with lots and lots of modulation, some delay here. Get nice textures, and of course there is so much more to explore. There are different FM modes, there is phase modulation, both modules are even polyphonic, so you can use polyphony to up to 16 voices. I really hope you will go and explore these modules, and again, this supports the development of VCV rack. But that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.